I'm going to put some notes out here to add to your notes. I don't think you guys got these last week. I'll just have you guys make sure that you have these. Do we want to go ahead and get started? It's 10 after, and just to see. Got to enable my screen. There we go. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Okay. If you guys want to open up the notes, you guys have most everything. I just want you to make sure that you have some of this vocabulary here. I think I'll give you a little bit of maybe a short quiz on this vocabulary next week. So there is, I don't believe I had you guys do this last week. So colossal, and guys, find your notes. You can find them and open those up. And it's the very end of your notes. Okay, so like I said, there'll be a little bit of a quiz over these words next week. So I do want you to study up a little bit so you know these. You'll just have to know really synonym, maybe how they're used in a sentence. So colossal, meaning massive or huge. Prejudice, meaning that you're some kind of a disadvantage or there's some prejudgment going on that adds prejudice feelings that are in conflict with others. Solomon in this case is not the, it is a allusion type of word, but biblical terms, but I do want you to know that figuratively it's a wise person. You know, you think you're a Solomon, and that's actually referring to a wise person in this case. Someone that figures out ideas and brainstorms well to get things done. That's a Solomon. Obdurate, someone who's stubborn, obstinate, possibly. Maybe like your little sisters or brothers, you might tend to see sometimes being a little obdurate at times, stubborn. Pelted, someone that threw, you might pelt a snowball at someone in the wintertime. Pelted, it's just to throw something rather hard. Or maybe you pelted someone in the belly with your Nerf gun. Blabbered means to argue. Sometimes we use the term blabbermouth, which, you know, someone that argues and keeps going about issues when they just need to hush. So blabbered is someone who argues Ecstasy is an overwhelming feeling. You're going to see that in the poem, The Obstacle. I mean, yeah. Yeah, that's what it's called. And incubus is it's like a heavy, you know, like when somebody has something on, they say on their shoulders, something heavy that's keeping them in distress. That's their incubus. Whatever's causing that anxiety is their incubus. Okay. Everybody got those? Thumbs up? Good to go? Job, Michael. Brandy and Nicholas, you gonna show your faces today? We really want to see you. All right. Okay, going on. We went over illusion a little bit, I think. Hopefully we did. Just remember, illusion is not illusion. It's not a magical trick or anything. Illusion in literature is just, it's giving reference to those people, books, events, things, places from history, okay? A really good one that you probably can refer to is, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and all the names of the turtles have their famous Italian artists. So, which you guys should know, which you probably know, but that's what we refer to as illusion, okay? And whoever named those turtles, they were using illusion because those are famous artists in history, which exemplifies that definition of illusion. Okay. Am I good to go on that? Hopefully. Okay, so I left you last week and I wanted you to go ahead and watch the TED Talk video. And I told you we would go through a little bit on the obstacle, that poem, together. And, you know, it's, the obstacle is, you know, it's really referring to, yeah, I mean, it's from a female's point of view, but it could come from really about anybody's point of view, in that, you know, when you feel like you just can't get anywhere, there's just like this huge obstacle in your way, whether it's your peers, you know, whether it's other athletes that are better than you, whether it's intelligence, whether it's a teacher, a parent, you know, whatever it might be. I mean, you guys all face these obstacles that you feel like you just can't get through. You just can't find a way to get around that barrier to get what you want. And that's kind of what this author is referring to, is this obstacle, and she refers to this obstacle as a human being. So the prejudice is being personified as this huge, massive, colossal statue-like being that she cannot pass, she can't get through. And what she's trying to do, it looks like, is she's got these ideas, perhaps, or and she's got all these things to do, and the work is surmounting more and more, and she has some extremely important business to take care of, but this prejudice being is in her way. And really what she's referring to in this case is who? Can anybody answer that? Want to unmute yourself and say who this Prejudice is in her world right now?
Men.
Yep. Men. So, and back when she wrote this, women didn't have a lot of say, okay? You know, and there's still places and still employers, and there, you know, there's still various places where, you know, women are undercut, so to speak. And so are many other people. I mean, it's not just women, you know, as we know, it's, you know, it's just really how we treat other people and how we acknowledge them and how we speak to them is really, you know, building that relationship. And sometimes when they speak to us down or they intimidate us, we feel like they are a prejudice. They're an obstacle that's in our way, and we just are stuck. And we don't want to cause any conflict, to cause any waves, to, you know, cause any attention to ourselves. But sometimes, you know, we have to get anything done. So in this case, this woman, of course, hopefully you read it, and I'm going to go through it again with you. So hopefully you can finish answering those questions the way you need to. But just pay attention stanza by stanza of how she changed it, how she changes with prejudice in her way, and how she reacts, and how she finally rids prejudice in her life, temporarily anyway, okay? So she says, I was climbing up a mountain path with many things to do, important business of my own and other people's too, when I ran against a prejudice that quite cut off the view. My work was such as could not wait. My path quite clearly showed. My strength and time were limited. I carried quite a load. And there that hulking prejudice sat all across the road. So I spoke to him politely, for he was huge and high, and begged that he would move a bit and let me travel by. He smiled, but as for moving, he didn't even try. So then I reasoned with him quietly, with that colossal mule. My time was short, no other path. The mountain winds were cool. I argued like a Solomon. He sat there like a fool. Then I flew into a passion, and I danced and howled and swore. I pelted and belaboured him till I was stiff and sore. He got as mad as I did, but he sat there as before. And then I begged him on my knees. I might be kneeling still. If so, I hope to move that mass of obdurate ill will, as well invite the monument to vacate Bunker Hill. So I sat before him helpless in an ecstasy of woe. The mountain mists were rising fast, the sun was sinking slow. When a sudden inspiration came, as sudden winds do blow. I took my hat, I took my stick, my load I settled fair. I approached that awful incubus with an absent-minded air, and I walked directly through him as if he wasn't there. So, you know, lots of things, you know, at first it sets you up with a setting of the poem that, you know, of this story, you know, of this woman who is, you know, she's fighting all kinds of struggles and obstacles in her life. And that's what that climbing up a mountain path, that kind of sets up the setting, the exposition of the story. where she's got a lot of issues and struggles that she's facing in her life right now. And this prejudice is just in the way, okay? So in other words, in her point of view, she's referring to men. They're not letting her ideas, they're not letting her do any business. They're just, whatever. We don't need your ideas. We don't need you here. We're good. But of course, this author, this woman, she just feels an urgency to bring about her business and her ideas, and nobody's listening. So that's really that first stanza there. Okay. So you guys, while I got you, would you like to go through the questions? And there are some questions on the TED Talk and how it relates, compares and contrasts to this poem. And I think if you understand the TED Talk, if you've already watched that, you kind of understand the poem a little bit better, possibly. They have a unique comparison from different day and ages and different generations, of course, but kind of cool. All right. Thumbs up. You want to go through the questions on the obstacle? Okay. Here we go. We'll go through some and I'll leave you some, of course. All right. But this is all a learning experience, so I'd rather you guys learn something from it as we go. So we'll talk about it and go through them together, okay? All right, so we have this first one, which I guess I just talked about. It said, how does the setting of an obstacle contribute to its central theme? So if you listen to anything that I said, you should have an idea of the answer there. Anybody want to contribute? Remember, theme is the message. Setting is, the time and place. Anybody want to contribute an answer?
B.
Awesome. Right on. The speaker is climbing a mountain, which suggests her struggle. So that setting underscores the theme or the message of resilience in the face of adversity. Good job. Okay, number 2, when I told you guys to look at the stanzas, each stanza separately, that kind of helps you to figure out like what's going on in each stanza. So when we talk about what the speaker or the narrator does first in the poem. So first right here, she just tries to speak with him politely, okay? And just tries to work through just work out things and travel by just by being polite. But, well, what the Prejudice did, well, he was polite too. He smiled. That's all. I mean, he was being polite back, but no. He's like, I'm good. That was nice of you to, be so polite to me, but you're still not going through me. You're going to have to figure out another way, okay? So that's the first thing you probably need to suggest, that the speaker first tries to be polite to Prejudice. And then, secondly, in your summary, you could say that, well, then she tried to reason with this colossal mule, okay? She tried to reason with Prejudice. And she was trying to be wise and intelligent in her reasoning, but he just kind of looked at her like a fool. You're just foolish. I'm not gonna support your ideas. I'm not gonna listen to you. You're just foolish. Only I know what's going on. It's kind of what Prejudice is saying back to her. I don't care about your ideas. So that's the second. So the first, the speaker tries to be polite to get Prejudice to move. Secondly, she tries to reason with him, but he only treated her like a fool. Then she was trying to get, you know how we get when we're trying to do these things, we just get, you know, when you talk to people and you kind of know what's going on, you get a little bit more agitated. And, you know, that's when, you know, we talk louder, and that's when yelling starts to happen, arguing to try to get your way, to try to get your ideas across. And that's what's happening now. So third, she starts to, of course, argue. And she starts to, I mean, she just has a fit about why he's not listening to her, why he's being so stubborn. So in the third case, she just has a fit and breaks down and doesn't understand. She gets agitated about why Prejudice is being so stubborn. Why won't you listen to my ideas? Why won't you just let me in and discuss and be a part of the team? But Prejudice just does the same thing. He gets mad. So they're probably arguing. And again, he's going to get his way and he's just going to sit there. And then lastly, in your summary, and the next, she starts to beg him, you know, and here's an allusion, guys, where it says, as well invite the monument to vacate Bunker Hill. Bunker Hill, there was a great battle there, and there's a monument that is placed on Bunker Hill till today that's huge and monumental, and it's, you know, there's no way it could be moved. So that's why she alludes to Bunker Hill's monument, because it's so colossal. So begging didn't help. So lastly, she just realizes that, you know, if she just ignores, if she just kind of goes on her way and feels like she can just face Prejudice with more of an open mind and just feel like she can refuse to let it destroy her, then she can get past it. And that's what she did. She just ignored it. She she got her ideas through, didn't let other people's people's comments and things destroy her energy and her ambition. She just let it go. And she went on through with her day. So anyway, just kind of paraphrase a few parts in order of what's going on with the speaker, and you'll have a summary, okay? You put down, at least 4 ideas of different things that she's going through. That'll work great. And make sure you do them in order. Summaries are often noted in order of how they happen through the story. Okay. Number 3 talks about which of the following best explains the reference to the monument of Bunker Hill. Okay, remember this is the illusion part. I should have used that in my terminology there. Which of the following best explains the reference? Who can answer? Who wants that one? Anybody think they got it? Hannah, what do you think? Want to give it a try? Michael, what about you? What?
Hannah wrote D in the chat.
It's in the chat. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, so hold on. Okay, yes, I see it now. I can't look at the chat. My technology skills aren't great. So yes, D is great. Hannah said the speaker compares prejudice to the monument at Bunker Hill to describe prejudice level of stubborn, being very stubborn about letting her go through, and like a massive monument, it cannot be moved. So perfect answer there. You got letter D. Just describing that. That's why he used, or she used Bunker Hill to describe how colossal prejudice and how destructing prejudice can be to our lives. Okay. Number 4, which of the following phrases best supports the answer to part A? So which one best supports that answer from the poem? Jake, what do you think? Guys, just unmute yourself and shout it out. You're not going to be right or wrong in my point of view, just so you're interacting. That's great. Shout it out.
I was taking care of a little kid and I didn't get to see number 3.
So we got this Bunker Hill reference. Okay, the allusion to the reference to Bunker Hill, and why would she use that as a, to describe prejudice, and so to speak.
I had B down.
You had B? Good. So it says, I might be kneeling still, so I hoped to move that mass of obdurate, which is stubborn, ill will. So yeah, perfect answer. If you got letter B, good job. She's trying to move it. There was just no way that she could move this stubbornness out of the way to get what she needed to get done. Okay. All right, going on to number 5. How does the final stanza contribute to the speaker's developing point of view? Okay, so her point of view, does it reveal that prejudice was only in her head? Do the final stanza reveals the speaker's own stubborn nature? Or does she show speaker overwhelming prejudice by now she can view him by electing to ignore him? Or does it develop the speaker's point of view because she can suddenly handle carrying the heavy load she bears? Which one do you guys think? Shout out an answer.
I had C.
Yeah, it's C. You are correct. Nice job. Overwhelming prejudice. She just feels overwhelmed by all the people in her life that seem to discriminate against her. So, yep. But she just elected to ignore him and go on her way to get things done. 6 in the first stanza, why does the speaker become impatient when blocked by prejudice? Who has that one? In the first stanza, why does the speaker become impatient when blocked by prejudice?
D.
She has important obligations to attend to. Okay. It notes that in the very first stanza. Okay. Many things to do. Important business of my own. Okay. So she has lots of things to get obligations to attend to. Yep. 7 in stanza 4, what does prejudice do when the speaker tries to pass? So stanza 4, what does she do? Anybody want to shout out that one? Doesn't he just kind of ignore her? This is when she tries to reason and she argues a lot, but he just kind of sat there like a fool. Who wants to come up with that answer? Dang. Doesn't he just kind of ignore requests and just continues to sit? Just to sat there like a fool. Okay. So number 8, going to the last stanza, how is the speaker able to get past prejudiced? What does she finally do? Anybody want to shout out that answer?
B.
A.
Okay, so yeah, and that very last stanza, she just she took off her hat. I approached that awful incubus with an absent-minded air. She just took no thought of it. No thought, just ignored him, walked on by. So, yeah. Letter A is a good answer. Synonym for obdurate, what would that be? I want to shut out that one.
Stubborn.
Yeah, whenever you guys get stuck on these, don't be afraid to go back. And I mean, you guys can look them up easily, but sometimes when you can't, the best way, I hope to move that mass of obdurate ill will. Ill will is, they're not very forgiving. They're just very, kind of mad. They're just lots of negative feelings. So stubborn would go right along with that. Okay, so number 10, it talks about the figurative device used throughout the poem. Who wants to shout out that one? What major figurative device is used for prejudice, in other words? There's a couple major ones, but what one just kind of stands out? Anybody want to shout that one out? Nicholas? What one is giving that prejudice human qualities? What's that called?
Just so you're aware, Miss Walker, Nick is having some communication issues, so he's gonna type his answers in the chat, and I will read them off. He says personification.
All right, thank you. Yeah, you are correct. Good job. So personification, we're personifying prejudice, given human qualities throughout that poem, making him like a colossal mule and like, you know, lots of different things that really gives that prejudiced human qualities. Okay. So throughout the whole poem, he just sat there like a human being. All right. How does the figurative language contribute to the poem's message? So how does that personification contribute to the message? Okay. You know, when you're talking about things bigger than us, right? And we're making this prejudice like a huge, colossal type of being, all right? And when we give it human qualities, that means we're actually giving it, you know, reasoning skills and qualities way beyond anything or any just item or even a monster. Because if you're giving it human qualities, we're actually adding those, you know, those qualities of reasoning, of becoming, of stubbornness, you know, agitation. We're giving it all kinds of just qualities that, you know, not just a thing could have. So it makes it even bigger, right? And when you make it this huge, it's like bigger than life, something that we just cannot get through, we cannot face. And it takes a lot of courage to get past those obstacles in our life. And that's what she's saying. You know, you're going to face a lot of struggles. You're going to climb a lot of mountains. But unless you're willing to climb those mountains and face those prejudices in our life, then you're not going to get through. You gotta face them head on. And sometimes you just got to ignore what's going on around you and just go with it, you know? So that's kind of what she's kind of contributing in this poem. We just got to, you know, face, if we're determined to do something, we just got to get there. Ignore people that are commenting on the, you know, the way we look or the way we address ourselves or the way we talk. We just got to ignore those things and just move on and face those struggles that we, you know, we have to get to, you know, to meet those dreams that, you know, all of us, we have dreams, and some of us just don't have the courage to meet those dreams. So, okay. The TED Talk's on your own. I don't want to really discuss any of that. I think he discusses enough. And I think if you listen to that, TED Talk, these are going to be easy. I mean, I have, when I watched it, of course I watched it a couple times, you know, before I, you know, get assigned it, but I just took notes of, you know, some of the important things that he talks about that you guys face today in some aspect. And that's what those questions really correlate, are some of those important things that you guys face and some of the important things that's drawn from that poem. So, okay. Any
Hey,
questions?
Nick
Yep.
just said he only has 13 questions, not 14.
Okay, 14. Yeah, let me go through, let me put that one on the screen. Okay, 14 is describe a prejudice that you or someone you know deals with daily or frequently. Okay, that's number 14. I did add that after I assigned this, just because I kind of wanted to discuss it or talk about it. I'm not going to count you right or wrong. It's more of a discussion. Describe a prejudice that you or someone you know deals with daily or frequently. I would highly, you know, do you guys want to, is there anything that you guys deal with or anything that you want to discuss in your lives that's going on right now? See on the news every day? Every minute? Anything? Nothing? You guys don't want to discuss anything that you see on the news? Just this. Anybody else want to add any comments to that? get all these movements that's coming about and all these riots all over the place because we are all over the screen on our ideas of how we look at people, how we feel about people. And that's why it's kind of that TED Talk is he really hits on a couple things that was pretty intense, discrimination. So he mostly talks about discrimination against women and races, of course. And of course, those are the two movements we've been dealing with in the last couple years is the Me movement and Black Lives Matter. So that's really what he hits upon in that speech, and how we can how we handle those perceptions better. So that's kind of an interesting speech. So I hope you guys get through it. And if you have any questions about it or any responses over it after you've watched it, email me. We can discuss it some more next week if you want. So, you guys have any more questions? Anything? Any thoughts? Nothing at all? Okay. Some of you, please, take time. If you guys are having questions or if you're having problems on some of the assignments, please don't be afraid to ask. This is summertime. We're all chill here. So we're not supposed to be stressed. And if you have questions or anything you want to get out there, I know Hannah's ready for you at any time. Mrs. Boats is ready. Look at her. She's just excited. She's ready. Yep. I'm ready. So please just shout out anything, any concerns, anything you want to talk about next week or discuss. So don't be afraid to shout out those things, okay? Anyway, I guess that's it. If you guys, there's nothing else. I don't see anything else in the chat.
Thank you guys for participating and speaking up so much today. That was awesome. I know I enjoyed hearing your voices and your ideas, and I'm pretty sure that all of the other adults on here did too.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys have a great rest of the week and rest of your day. And I hope you enjoyed that little rain we got. Very little, but all right, I'm off.